Okay, Pepper. Stay. Pepper, stay. Okay, break. Good girl. Good job, Pepper. Pepper. Good job. All right, this video is going over threshold training, and we're also just going to touch on impulse control because that is the number one thing for Miss Pepper, especially with the kids in the house and kind of what you've described as happening at home. So threshold training basically just means having her sit and stay or sit and wait or stand and wait. But basically the concept is we just want her to wait to be released through the door after us. So typically we'll just tell her to stay. We will walk through the door first, and then we'll invite her through using break. Now, this is really important just from a safety standpoint. We want every dog to be in the habit of being invited through the door rather than getting to rush out on their own. This helps prevent door dashing. Pause for the big bus. A door dash is where a door slightly opens, you start to go out your front door, and a dog sees that and they take that as an opportunity to try to go on a big adventure in the neighborhood, or even just try to get the walk started or the car ride started or whatever it is you're doing next. And of course, that is every dog parent's worst nightmare. We want to make sure that she is used to waiting for our permission to go through the door. So that's where that threshold training comes in from a safety standpoint, but it's also just really, really awesome practice with stay or wait and impulse control. So impulse control just means we are containing all of our excitement and she's resisting that urge to jump, to go through the door, to bark, etc. All of that stuff that takes a lot of brain power out of them when they're really, really excited. But the more we practice, the easier it becomes. So the more opportunities we can find in our day to build it into our routine, the better off she'll be overall. So threshold training is a really, really big one. I want you to practice with every door because now she's reliably potty trained. In the beginning, when pups are young, I typically don't recommend using a back door or whatever your designated potty door is. But because she's fully potty trained, you can absolutely use every single door unless you know she's like really, really got to go to the bathroom or something. Then don't make her wait, just let her go. But you can use pretty much every door. You can even do it with internal doors if you're putting her in a separate room with you or moving from room to room if there's an actual, barrier involved. The other reason this is so important is it also establishes our role within our relationship with our dog. Same with standing slightly ahead. So you'll notice when I am positioning standing next to Pepper, I'm just going to be slightly ahead. Nothing dramatic, but we just don't want to be back here. Just slightly ahead. And that communicates to her that I am going to keep her safe and she can follow me. And that I am kind of leading the order of things and she can look to me for guidance. Now, this is not to be confused with dominance theory and power dynamics with dog training. That is definitely kind of an old school way of thinking in terms of dog training, but I know there is a lot of rhetoric around that. So just want to make sure we are differentiating. This is not about overpowering Pepper. It's really just about communicating in a way that she naturally understands that we are in charge of her safety and not the other way around. Pepper, good girl, good job. And she really does seem to thrive with some guidance. Same when she's meeting new people and there's a little bit of recall. It really, really helps her in new situations too, just to communicate with her and give her a command and give her something very specific to do. So when we're walking through doors first or standing slightly ahead, it's a really, really good way just to communicate to her that she can be confident we're going to keep her in the loop on what she's supposed to be doing, etc. And this is very, very important for the kids as well. We want to make sure the kids always walk through the door first before Pepper, and that they also practice standing slightly ahead just so she understands that in the household she should listen to everyone and respect them the same. Even though the kids are fun and they've got a different energy, we want to make sure she doesn't see them as truly just a peer like another dog. So that will be really helpful from that perspective. Now, other areas where we can implement some impulse control, since like I said, we're going to go over that in this video too. There will be a write-up from Meredith with more details on this, and same with some info from Alex. But just to go over it. So kind of similar to how we do threshold training with the gait, we're going to do something very similar when you're letting her out of the crate each time. So we want her to understand that she's got to sit still. She's got to be in a seated or down position in order to be invited out of the crate. So we'll do the same thing. She's going to be crated, and you'll tell her sit or settle or down, and then you're just going to wait or stay. And then with that same hand signal, just a palm out, you're going to slightly open the door very, very slowly. If she starts to dart out, then you're going to close it again, keep her inside, and then you're going to slowly open it till we can get it all the way open with her still standing inside. And then we'll release her with our release word, which is break. This is super, super helpful, again, just from an impulse control standpoint, especially when she's really excited. So for example, when the kids come home from school, her routine should be that she's in her crate. And then we're going to do that activity. We've got to get her impulses under control before she can even come out of the crate. Then you'll release her. And then I want you to do some kind of fun activity for her that burns that extra energy, because she's going to be excited by the kids, which we want, but we want to make sure that there's some structure there where she gets that opportunity to run or to play, etc. So the routine after she goes out of her crate can be she goes to play ball, or she has a training session with you, or whatever the case may be, while the kids are kind of settling down or doing some part of their routine, and then they can kind of mix and mingle. Another suggestion that Meredith had, and I think it's a really good one, is getting her involved in daycare a couple times a week, just so she's burning some energy. She does have a lot of energy, so she's going to need a lot of outlets and opportunity to manage that. That's where a dog training is really, it can be frustrating at times, because they might know a lot, but if their needs are not met, they're not going to do well. So we can have the most well-behaved dog, so well-trained, but they're not going to be obedient. They're not going to show off that great behavior that they know so well if their mental and physical needs are not met. So she needs a variety of physical exercise and also mental exercise. So take a look in the graduation notebook, and there are some ideas for enrichment. That's really important too. Of course, we want her to get that physical exercise in, but I know it's not always practical in a busy household with kids and everything too. So if you need to rely on some puzzle toys or scent work or things of that nature, that's also an option. Now, we don't want to just rely on that exclusively, but it's a nice thing to mix in on your really busy days, or when there's bad weather and she can't get outside for a long walk, etc. Now, another thing that might be helpful, we went over how to do the leash work in the leash work video, but one thing I did not mention is that we really want to make sure that every walk is used to its full potential. And we want to make sure that means there's a lot of mental exercise involved. So every single time you walk her, I want you to see it as a training session. So try your best to keep your phone down and really just focus on her. And even if she's not pulling, once she's gotten really, really good at it, you can still practice commands randomly throughout the walk. You can do touch, you can do sit, you can do settle, look, etc., and just making sure that she is getting that mental enrichment as well will go a really, really long way. More so than just seeing how far you can walk. If we've got her brain working too, she'll wear out much faster, and then therefore she'll just do better the rest of the day. So keep that all in mind. If you have questions about impulse control or things to do in whatever specific scenarios that come out, let us know. I would be thrilled to set up a virtual support session, and we can walk through your routine. We can find ways to implement structure together and just kind of brainstorm what's going to be most sustainable for you all as a family. But for Pepper, really the biggest thing is, now that she's got this nice common language, it's a lot about just managing her needs and making sure that the structure is there and that she knows in different scenarios what's expected. And if it's a new scenario, having the tools to kind of communicate what it is we want. But she's doing really good. She's very, very sweet, very engaged, and we're really excited to see how she does at home.